to me enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. You won't bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Is enough. Is enough. Enough is enough.
Hey guys, welcome back to Indie Wrestling Corner with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host as always, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany. And today, well, happy Labor Day, right? And so I'm sure there should be a lot of people in this chat. Better be a lot of people in the chat. No, like so today I got your homie, the Gnomie. Gabby, what's going on?
Here.
I'm so happy that you're here. Look, she brought a friend. I
course.
love it. I love
Always
it.
got it on me.
Aw,
Always.
I love that. Okay, so wait, before we go into anything, was the gnome's name for anybody that doesn't know?
So this gnome is not the gnome
Mhm.
that I wrestle, bring ringside with me. This gnome is the Stoked Athletics gnome. It's got Stoked on the
Oh, look
back.
at that.
So he's a sponsored athlete here.
Yes.
The gnome I bring to the ring with me is called Little Vicky, short for Victor.
Oh.
Yeah.
See? I didn't even know that. So this is why we ask these questions here. I love it. I love it. But guys, if you're new here to the Under the Rope series, here I interview everything independent wrestling, whether it's wrestlers, promoters, referees, backstage. I got you covered. If you guys got questions for Nomi, please feel free. Drop it into the chat. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. So if you're listening to this later, give us a like. Also, if you guys share the stream, let's get some people in here. Let's get this party started pretty much. So, all right. So, I feel like, I was talking to Nomi a little bit, and I was like, I feel like this is just going to be such a unique interview because when I started doing all the questions, I'm going all over the place. I'm like, how am I doing this? Because, I didn't really know where to start. So I feel like I'm just going to be throwing all my questions into a mix, and we're going to get there. So, but
Love it.
it's great because it's so cool because I came to your debut match. I was just there. I was like, who is this chick? I was like, how? I didn't know that this was your debut match. And I was like, who is this chick? She came out and I just was instant in love. And I was like, okay, I love, you had this aura about you. And I'm like, okay, I was like, I love the personality. I love she's coming out with a gnome. And I was like, oh, so obviously that I found out that I was like, this is your debut. And I'm like, this is wild because I was like, this is an insane debut match at Create a Pro. So if anybody hasn't watched it, definitely go check that out. But oh my God. So there's so much to touch base here. And then it was loud, all the wrestlers were even there watching, cheering you on, your friends, talk to us a little bit about this. And I'm going to go piece more into this question, but tell us a little bit about your debut.
I mean, I'm glad you were there because it was pretty like I would say like euphoric, where the reaction and the reception was amazing, and everyone seemed so excited about me being a pro wrestler. So not just like that it was my debut, which was like awesome, but everyone was so excited to see what I could do as a wrestler. I had a lot of my friends there, a lot of my family, so it was super fun. And I don't know if anyone's ever brought a gnome to the ring before, but that's what I did, and it worked. So that's what I do every single time.
It was amazing. It was loud. It was so
It was
loud.
really,
It was really
and
loud.
I never experienced anything like that. So now every time I wrestle, I try to do my best, always. But the reaction I got at my debut definitely created like a love for wrestling, and now I'm so excited and I'm hooked, and I can't wait to do more of it.
Yes, and I love it that you've had some more matches after it. I definitely want to touch base on this. Even like that match too. It's like I saw Bronson. Her and Bronson are dating. They're so cute. They're goals, 100% goals. That's just how I feel. But I just love like the few matches that I've come to see you live, and I just see him like in the background, like proud boyfriend, like watching, cheering on. Like it's amazing just to see that. I just had to like touch base. Definitely.
Yeah, he's the best boyfriend ever, and I'm super in love with him. But just as if I never like I'm just so new to wrestling, where I we talk about it all the time, where I'm like, if I never tried wrestling, if I never pursued it, we would not be even closer.
Hmm.
So I talk about it all the time, how like wrestling, and it's his love. He loves wrestling. Obviously, it became his full-time job,
Yeah.
and it's been his life for his whole life, and especially these last 10 years, becoming so accomplished in AEW.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm just so happy to be part of it and like get to like pick his brain, because it's all he thinks about a lot of the time, and now I get to share that with him a lot. Where, well, he shares that with me, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting, and he's really proud of me all the time. He tells
Yeah, definitely. I just love it. I love like all the support that I feel like, we had to touch base a little bit about that.
me.
So,
He's he's been part of every wrestling milestone. So he's at every match. He drives me to every show, and he hasn't missed one yet. I know it's going to happen eventually, but so far, he's part of every bit, and he's been my trainer too. So he gets all the credit for me doing well. I
yeah,
always hope to make.
you could definitely see it. And that's like one of the cool things is that, like I saw it even like the debut, and I'm like, oh, because even like after the show and I saw you guys like together, and I didn't have like nerve for whatever reason to come up. I didn't want to like disturb you guys. That's really what it was. I didn't want to come and like bother you guys. And I was like, the next time I come, I was like, I'll come. And I feel bad because I came to you and I ignored it. I came and gave you like the homecoming show. I ran up to you, gave you a hug, and then I was like, "Hi," and I was like, "But like, I'm
I love
sorry."
that.
I'm
It's
sorry.
so fun. That's where I met, like officially. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It was funny because I went and told Dante, and he was like, "Bronson has to know that Nomi's the star now, so he doesn't get the attention anymore." He was I love it. I love it so much. All right, so let's talk about it because of the fact that well, let's start here because I definitely want to go into like your football career and everything like that. But like, what made you, decide to go into wrestling? How did why create a pro? Give us a little bit of that background.
Okay. So I had thought about trying wrestling for a little while before I actually did. But I've been a football player my whole life, so football was always my number one love. I would eat, sleep, breathe football. Everything I did was really to be a better football player. So I would study film. I would train the hardest I can, the best I could, for 10 years, past 10 years. So I've been pursuing being the best and most accomplished female linebacker in my league. and I've gotten a lot of accolades. Where I'm an All-American linebacker for 5 seasons straight. I'm a 2 times national champion linebacker. I made the alternate roster for the national women's tackle football team, which for us it's a branch of the Olympics. So if I made that team, I would be an Olympic gold medalist, but I'm not. So that was always my goal, to try out for that team and make that team. So everything I did was just for football. And in 2019, I went to my first Creative Pro show, and I went to see VSK because I'm friends with him. So I work at Stoked Athletics in West Babylon in Long Island, but as a personal trainer, I started training some pro wrestlers, and VSK was my very first friend, and he was like, if you keep asking questions, you need to come to a show. And I was like, okay. So I went to a show, and that's where I learned all about indies. That was my first indie show.
Wow.
So I saw Chris Statlander and Aaron Rourke wrestle on a singles match, and that was what made me like fall in love, and I never missed a Creative Pro show since then, because it was just amazing. And I love Creative Pro. I'm wearing their sweatshirt right now. But, I didn't join Creative Pro till October 2022.
Oh, wow.
And that was after I started dating Bronson. So it's just a really crazy series of events of how I decided to try pro wrestling, because it was becoming a football player that kind of, the athleticism, the athletic aspect of the sport is what really attracted me and pulled me in. And then I learned so much about pro wrestling since then, where I was like, there are so many levels to this, and there's so many different aspects to it that I love. And then that's what sucked me in, and I was like, maybe I would be good at this. So
and here you are.
Yeah. It's really this is just a crazy story. I became friends with wrestlers. I started training them in the gym, and that's just my job. But going to all their shows and following them with AEW and all those things, and really rooting for them, because I became a huge fan of all my friends. Obviously, I wanted to support them and just made me watch more wrestling and fall in love with it. And then I started dating Bronson, but I already expressed that I wanted to try wrestling, because I went to an open house before we started dating.
Mm-hmm.
And before we ever spoke, really. He didn't know who I was. But then I went to an open house, then we started dating. So I was like, I'm not even going to talk about wrestling with him, because I don't want to. And then we were dating for 6 months, and I asked his opinion. And he was like, I think you would be amazing at wrestling. If you really want to try it. And I was like, yeah, I do. And then he became the trainer at CAP that taught me so many things. And now I'm a pro wrestler.
Yay! We love it. We love it. I'm gonna get to your questions into the chat. I just want to wrap up this part of the interview. So how was that transition from being a football player to wrestler? Was it hard? Yeah.
It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It still is. Mm-hmm. Wrestling's the hardest thing I've ever done, and football is not an easy sport. As a linebacker, it's collision on every play, but that's what I prepare for. So training to be a linebacker, I wasn't I'm not someone that catches the ball. I'm not a quarterback. I don't throw the ball. My body is my weapon. So for me, going into wrestling with that mindset and with that training background, I was like, a lot of this is similar, but it's very different. So I felt like I was just unknowingly prepared for the demands of wrestling, because It is so aggressive and it's so painful. But being a linebacker, or I may have retired from football because I love wrestling and I want to give it my all. So formerly being a linebacker, but definitely a 2-time champion linebacker is definitely helping my wrestling career so far. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I was really curious about that, because we've had Matt Mikowski on here where he was MMA, and I was like, well, how was that transition from that to wrestling? And you see that style from it in his wrestling. So I was like really curious, like how with you with the football, which I can kind of see because you're a little powerhouse. So it's like-
Thank you.
I was like, damn, a little powerhouse over here. So I definitely see that. Let me give love in this chat because it's popping off in here. Laura's in the chat. She says hi. Captain Dave, what's going on? Bobby says hello. Laura says, I'm so glad that we got to meet you at our first Cap show and so glad to see you at Wrestling Open. You're amazing. How many gnomes do you have?
Wow, that's a crazy question. I have so many gnomes. It's growing still, but I've been a huge gnome enthusiast my whole life. But I have about 400.
Oh my God.
Yeah. My entire life has been dedicated to gnomes.
Are they like displayed somewhere or like?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So have you ever seen the movie Dodgeball?
Yeah.
Do you know when he goes to, like, she brings home the guy and she's like, I have to warn you, I really like unicorns. And he's like, okay, that's cool. And then they go in the house and every surface is covered in unicorns.
That's your point.
That's like, that is me with gnomes.
I'm seeing them everywhere now, right? Like I'll tag you and stuff because like I'll go, there's somewhere by my house, like she did like this whole thing in her front yard. It's so cute. And then like at night it's gorgeous because it's all like lit up with the lights, with the solar lights and everything. But it's such like a gnome little family. And then like you'll walk into like Party City or like Home Goods and I'm like, I'm just finding them. So now like I just see them. Like they're everywhere.
Love that.
They're
You
everywhere.
always think,
Yeah, I do because I never like knew how big they were. Like it would see once in the blue. Now they're everywhere. I spot them and I start picking them up and I'm like, look how cute. Like,
gnomes are symbols of, to me, they've always been a symbolism that you are exactly where you're meant to be in that moment.
yeah.
So it's like universe giving you like a double thumbs up of like, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
So you're bringing me good luck, pretty much.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
it. I love that. Let's see what else. Bobby says, would you like to wrestle against Zeta Steel or Delmi XO? Ooh.
Delmi XO. Yes.
Yeah.
That is a goal.
Absolutely. She's amazing. Chat says, hi to us both, and how are you doing?
Well, hello. And I'm doing amazing. I'm drinking coffee made by
Look! Is it cute? I hate that.
amazing.
It was-
I don't know if it's out. It says Gnomie.
Yes.
But
It's so cute.
sparkly top, amazing.
I was
Both
just,
drink your
I started making all those like glasses, and then it was like I bought like a file, and it had like a whole bunch of like wraps in it. And I think it had like 200 wraps. And I'm going through the wraps, and then I saw that. I was like, okay, I have to make her a glass. I was like, because I was just like fell in love with it, and then I was like, okay, now I gotta paint the top. I gotta rhinestone it because you know I'm extra as hell.
so amazing.
So, and I got my coffee. And anybody that, you know, Dunkin' Donuts has free coffee today on the app. Just so you
I'm
know,
gonna
I
get
got
it.
my coffee for this podcast. Zach's in the chat. He says, hi, friends. Sorry I'm late. He goes, there's a gnome soap dispenser in the bathroom of the house I'm in right now. Look at that.
I love it. I want. That's amazing.
I love that. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about like, you know, you made like a strength coach pretty much and training and everything like that. You know, how is that working with people? You know, maybe a piece of advice that you can give someone that wants to like get into it. You know, I've always have fans, you know, and there are people that are looking, you know, I've had a couple of fans ask me like, oh, I wonder how, you know, to start working out, you know, what's the best for my body, you know, how would you suggest?
I love that. That's a great question. So the best place to start is kind of where you are. So if that means you're at home and you want to start working out, start doing body weight exercises like squats every day or like plank holds, like things you can already do with your body. Working towards push-ups because not everyone can do them. Things like that where you have like a squat movement, which is legs, push-ups, which is like a pushing movement or pressing movement for your chest. And then there are different things you could do with like strengthening your upper body and your lower body. But honestly, those three movements, if you're at home, Like those are great places to start. And if you go to a gym or you're just into like trying to better your health, going for walks, like little things like that can really change your whole life, like change your whole lifestyle. So just being more active and also making like better food choices because you never really know how much that will change your health completely. It change how you feel too.
Yeah. Oh man.
So eat more clean.
And you've been cooking a lot too. I was like, damn. I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
come. I'm just like gonna show up at her house and just eat her food because lately she's just like posted about that. I think I saw a Wait, let me see. I know I saw a question for that. So let me find that. Where was it? Oh, here. This is a fan tweet from Dave. He goes, "The food you make yourself is amazing. Can I ask how hard it is to find just to stick to that level of good food when you're on the road?"
It is really hard. Obviously, or honestly, as a new wrestler, I'm trying to be busier. So I'm just now starting to have that problem where if you're on the road, it's actually really difficult to stick to eating healthy. But I actually have gotten better at like packing food at home, like the food I already made, and just bringing it on the road. And if I have to buy something, I'll just add the food I have made and add it to the meals that I'm eating. So I'm getting more like nutrients out of it. So I'll add vegetables, I'll add protein to like a salad from Panera last week. That's what I did. And it worked great. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's interesting. Oh, wow. Lots of questions. All right. April's in the chat. What's up, April? She goes, "Hey, ladies. I want to ask, since I'm new to lifting weights, how often should I go up in weight?"
Ooh, that's a great question. You should go up in weight when you feel like good with the movement. So you're feeling confident and you're feeling the targeted muscles working. And when you increase weight, you don't need to go up by like 45 pounds. You can add little 5-pounders or go up by 10 pounds. Like you don't have to go for PRs all the time, which just means you're lifting like the most you possibly can. It's always good to like build your confidence first and then add a little bit of weight. So I usually tell clients like adding 5 pounds a week is awesome.
Wow. That's pretty good.
A
That's amazing.
I love that.
I think thanks for coming in, April. I know that like she started like working out and stuff like that, and she's been sticking to that. So I told her, I was like, "You're gonna love her." I was like, so I'm glad that she came in here and asked the questions. Bobby in the chat says, "I liked your matches on Wrestling Open against Nate Castle and Tina San Antonio." Like, yeah. So you debuted too. Like, we can talk a little bit about that at Wrestling Open, which is awesome. So a lot of us have been like, okay, when is this? I asked Bronson one of the days I was downstairs in the bar. I'm like, "Where's your girl?" And he's like, "Oh, she's trained because you had the match at Creative Pro that weekend." So he was like, she wanted to go train. He was like, I was like, "Gotta get her up here." I was like, because like me and Zach in the chat, we were saying, we're like, "Oh, we have like the list. We have like a list already, like all the people that we want to see wrestle."
I love that. I felt so honored. I was like, they think I'm worthy of Wrestling Open.
Yeah.
And then it happened.
Definitely. And then you got sponsored too. Shout out to Pat. Well, Tim. Pat on Twitter.
Yeah, his name's Tim.
Yeah.
I said that too the first time. I was like, "Thank you, Pat." And then I was like, his name is Tim.
Yeah.
Pat's fan.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Shout out to Tim.
Yeah, it's going really well. I'm very, very lucky, and I can't wait to be back at Wrestling Open.
Yeah. So I love
Tiff, you are from Queens.
Yes. And I drive all the way up.
Oh my God.
I get a lot of wrestlers that like Bobby Orlando's like another one, or like Bryce, and like they'll be like, "You go all over the place," and I'm like, if I can do it that week, you know, if you put on a good card, you'll get me in the car and I'll drive up, you know. So I love going up to Wrestle Open. A lot of the fans that are in this chat, I've met because of Wrestling Open, which is cool. They like welcome me, the crazy New Yorker, the Queens, you know, that wild accent that I have, and they deal with my crazy ass. But they're very welcoming, and I love that crowd. Like, that was great to see that even for you guys to come up there, and just get like such a loud reaction. Like I said, being sponsored, you know, people want you to come back, which is awesome. So
I feel very lucky, and I loved connecting with the crowd. They were awesome to me. So I can't wait to be back and hopefully more matches in the future.
Yes,
everything's going well. but
Well,
gonna keep trying.
one day we'll see her on like Beyond. You know, one day it'll happen. So Zach says, Zach says, is there a location that you have a goal where you want to wrestle, whether that be a venue, promotion, or geographical location?
That's a great question. So I'm not gonna lie to you, my year goal, like once I started getting more matches at Create a Pro, I was hoping to get more outside bookings or like start. And my big goal was Wrestling Open. That was my big goal. And then it happened like 2 weeks later. And I was like, I have to set a bigger goal now. So now my big goal is Beyond Wrestling, like one of their bigger events. A long-term dream. I don't think it will happen anytime soon. So I think I have to start setting bigger goals for myself. American Rana is a dream. But I have right now, just because I really don't have like what's next for me, because I want to just keep having better matches and go to new places and meet more people. So I have a few debuts coming up, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, just keep having good matches on hopefully more Wrestling Open. I would love to be a regular on Wrestling Open. That would be like a dream for me,
Yeah,
honestly.
I love
So,
that. Bobby says, do you have any plans on wrestling in Japan or UK?
I mean, that sounds so crazy. I would love to. I was just talking to Air about this. That he thinks it would be really his goal is to wrestle in Japan.
Mhm.
I would. I was just thinking about it. I was like, wow. Imagine if I wrestled in another country, like New Japan. So that's a new thing I'm gonna look into more, because it looks like those female wrestlers in Japan are incredible. So I was like, I want to get my ass kicked.
I want to get my ass kicked. That's the goal. I'm done.
If they could kick my ass, I'm like, let's do it.
I love that. I love that. Let's talk a little bit more about Create a Pro, because there's so many amazing things and all the opportunities and everything like that. Recently, I saw you guys at the Long Island Ducks game. Those are fun.
Yeah.
Those games are fun. But a bunch of you were there. Poor Phil got the spear.
Yeah.
She took him out. He tried to steal, what was it, first base? And
Yeah,
then
he was trying to. Didn't let it happen. Not on my watch.
she speared him. She speared him
The
good.
Ducks. They started playing the Triple H the game. It was pretty iconic. It was a very proud moment for me.
How was that with like in the arena and like doing something like that? Like, you know, because you're always like in like, you know, whether it's Create a Pro or like even up at Worcester, you know, like being inside it, it's like, oh wow, like, you know, we're doing this little thing here, you know, in a baseball field pretty much.
Yeah.
So
I'm really having the most insane first year of wrestling I think anyone could ever have. And I was like, this is like, I was like half joking but serious. I was like, this is the most people I've performed in front of. Even though I just speared him, I was like, this is my moment. And the rest of the game, like I was walking around the stadium after, and like a lot of older, mostly women and men, a lot of older women were stopping me to say that they loved me and that they said I was very strong. And I was like, that's what I do it for the old ladies to tell me I'm strong. I love it.
but that's cool. I mean, like the other thing, and like I'll go back to Create a Pro in a minute or whatever like that, but I think that you're such an inspiration for like little girls, and I know you and me had talked about this in DMs and stuff like that, but like how cool is that, like, you know, you have these little kids, you know, like look up to you. I know you did a birthday party recently too with Create a Pro, and just like these little girls, like it's like, oh wow, like women can wrestle, right? Like in like my time, like, you know, being young when I started watching wrestling, it was just kind of like valet, you know, they weren't really wrestling. And then
Right.
where we are now, we have all these women wrestlers. A bunch of them have been on this podcast. We've talked to a bunch of women, you know, and here it is. Like you give that hope for these little girls that I was like, oh, I could do that too. She's doing it. Like,
Yep.
talk a little bit about that.
I mean, my goal with football has always been to kind of be the person that I wish I had when I was younger. So when I was a little girl and I played football, I was the only girl playing football. And that was for years, for like 7 years growing up. I was always the only girl. And I never wanted anyone to say, like, you play like a girl. So I always tried to compete with, like, not just the boys. I was trying to compete with, like, the best players on the field. So now in wrestling, it's another male dominated sport, and I don't want people to be like, oh, she's a good wrestler for a female. I want to be a good wrestler. I want to be known as a good wrestler. So I really appreciate that everyone loves my gear and loves the gnome, but I really just want to be like a really good wrestler. So I'm having good matches right now. I want to keep it going. I want to keep getting better. And the drive that I have, I hope inspires little girls to keep pushing for better and not settle for what other people kind of tell you what you should be or what you should do. Like, I've always been like too much my whole life for other people. So now I'm in a space where I can be the crazy person I am. And so far, it's having a good reaction and I'm having a ton of fun. So always being like the strongest person in the room, not just the strongest girl. Like, all these things that I've always aspired to be, like, other people are seeing it now with I guess a larger platform than football kind of had for me.
Yeah. It's so wild. I mean, even like before we started this podcast, we were talking about, like, I mean, I love intergender wrestling, you know? So you haven't like done that like in an actual match, like
Right.
aired yet, or, you know? So that's going to be fun because we get a lot of that. We have a lot of that. I mean, we even have intergender promotions out there. Shout out to Stan Styles. He runs the Intergender Bonanza. Maybe Stan, someone tag him, you know, tell him book Gnomie. We're gonna get her booked like on this podcast. It's just inevitable. You know? Get her. You should be booking her because she's awesome. I'd love to see her wrestle Stan. It would be great. You know, there's a whole bunch of other people. Actually, Darian Hardway is one that I would love to see because he's like another, like, a powerhouse. So shout out to Darian. So I would love that because I feel like you just like step in his face, but like, yes, yeah, so what? You got muscles? Whatever. I'll take you out, boy. Pretty much.
Yeah, all about female empowerment, but not just like to other women, older or younger. I just want to, like, you know, always want to set the bar higher for women.
Yeah.
Always. And little girls, they come up to me after shows and they're like, you are so strong. And I'm like, let me see your muscles. And then we flex at each other and I'm screaming and they're screaming and it's so much fun. We're all having a good time.
Yeah, definitely. And I tagged them, by the way. So hopefully they come to this chat and we're going to like bust their chops pretty much. Zach says the flossing gnome adds so much to this pot. Right? I had to be a little extra. I had to put a little flossing gnome. He's doing the floss dance. I love it. So she'll see it after this podcast because obviously I'll clip something and post it all up so she can see how, like, I think I showed you, right? I showed you like before, like last week, that I was going to put the little gif of him just like dancing or whatever. Like, we had to add to it, you know, pretty much. So, what is that? Bobby says, how about a match against Becca? Okay, let's go.
That's my dream. I have like a list of dream opponents. I will say that, and Becca is on it.
Yeah?
We'll say
Oh, give us like 3 women on your list that you want to wrestle maybe by the end of the year.
by the end of the year. So Becca is one of them, so she counts. My 2 other ones, I'm going to say I don't think will happen by the end of the year, but a dream, you know, it's good to speak your dreams. Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. But I also want to wrestle Lomi and Kathleen really bad.
Yes. I feel like that could happen at Remarkable. Shit, tag Kono right now. See, we're putting it all out there. Tag it. And I feel like you and Willow would be fun on Beyond. I feel like that would be great. Becca, I feel like it could happen at Creative Pro. You know, and you never know with Chris Statlander. You never know.
Never know.
You never know.
She's a Creative Pro gal. The very first and only Creative Pro graduate, female Creative Pro. So I'm like trying to be.
I love it. Oh, so let me go back and talk a little bit. The other thing too with the Creative Pro, I saw you guys did a camp. a camp show, which was so cute. So I saw like all the whoever made the little video of like, and then like with you and Bronson and Bryce and like, you know, so all these little kids, they set up the ring for like camp day wrestling at the camp day. How was that?
I will say a spoiler from it because it already happened and no one can watch it anyway. Do you know Nick Robles, the rocker boy?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. He is actually a camp counselor there.
Ah.
So, and Brian Myers, you know, is a kid there. But so went to this camp show, and the whole show, I was the only women's match on the show with Nat Castle, and we knocked it out of the park. The place was going crazy. The kids loved it. And after all the kids ran up to me and they were like, "You are the strongest one," and I was like, "Thank you." The power of gnomes. So the kids love the gnome. They love the power. Big, impactful person. A lot of crazy moves. It was super fun. And then at the end, Leo Sparrow came out and he challenged anyone there to eat him, or else there would be no more pizza ever.
Oh wow, that's just mean.
Like ripped off his shirt, he's got his wrestling gear on, and he's like, "I will beat him." And then they had a crazy match. And Robles won, and the coolest camp counselor ever.
There you go.
So
We love Nick. Nick gives me bridges on toes now. That's all because of me. So any wrestler that you start seeing doing bridges on toes, it's my fault. Nick was like, I need to be part of the bridge club. Dante started doing it, so Nick had to jump on it. And he was like, am I part of the bridge club? I'm like, yes. So he's part of the bridge club. Actually, I made him a keychain. It's over here, actually. That's so funny. I made like a Nick key. Well, we're not going to be able to see it very well, but it's got like the little rocker hand.
I love that.
So
cool.
when I see him, I was gonna give it to Dante this weekend. He's like, no. He's like, when I see you, I was like, all right, cool. So we love Nick. We gotta put him on the podcast. So hopefully soon I gotta see. You know, this might be my last podcast for a little bit, guys, because I have to have surgery on my mouth. So I'm not really sure, but we'll see. But he'll definitely come on here. Desmond Cole's in the chat. What's up? He said she's absolutely killing it. Keep the train rolling, Gnomie. Much love. Much love. Love you, Des. So awesome. Zach says in chat, besides your boyfriend, who is your favorite person to train with in the ring? Which of your peers do you feel helps you grow the most?
Wow. That's a great
good questions.
So, of our wrestlers at CAP, I will say whenever I'm in the ring with someone more advanced, that is when I learn something new, or they push me to try things I've never done before. And the names I'll say you'll know. I will say Leo Sparrow, Steven Azure of the Even Stevens, and who else? Whenever CPA is there, I'm very, very happy because he's amazing. I would say those are my three. Those are my three favorites to wrestle and make me better. But my boyfriend is number one.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Number one. I love it. I love it.
Ever.
All right. So, I mean, you had my coffee glass before, so I have to ask, what's your favorite coffee?
My favorite coffee? Well, I love a hazelnut brew.
Me too. This is why I love you so much.
I love hazelnut. So much that I add hazelnut creamer to it. Like hazelnut coffee, hazelnut creamer, the whole thing. Love it. With 2 Splendas and almond milk.
With the win. There you go. Yum. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. I have another fan tweet here from Good Cop, Bad Cop. Shout out to him. So he likes messing with it. I know you saw these questions on that, Cal. You said these are great. So he said, with Nomi being an anagram of me go in, complete the following sentences. The building I would most likely me to go into is...
Let me think. I did see these, but I forgot. Building I'm most likely to go in is... Yeah, I feel like the 2 places I go the most is Create a Pro Wrestling Academy. I'm there like 3 days a week at least. and Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym because I train there. I love to work out there. My two.
There you go. And then his other question is, the match I would most like me to go in is.
What?
He likes to mess with everybody.
Love it. Match most likely to go in. I'm wrestling Nat Castle a billion times over these next few months. So Nat Castle, Nat Castle, Gabby Forza till the end of time. Fight forever. It'd be great.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. Good cop, back up. I love it. I was like, that was like fun. He thinks of fun questions over here. So, we had a fan tweet from Desiree. She wants to know what was the best gift you received from a fan.
Oh, I love that. One of the first gifts, I've been getting a lot of gnomes gifted to me since I've joined pro wrestling, and that's the best thing that ever happened to me, for the record, as a lifelong gnome enthusiast. Being able to talk about gnomes at all times is the best thing ever. And the best gift I received from a fan is either this adorable
I win.
yeah, or I also got from another podcaster, so that was cool. That's actually, he was my first podcast after that podcast interview. It was a DeGrom, because I'm a Mets fan, a DeGrom gnome.
Oh, how cool.
And he gave me a Mets blanket with it. And I was like, this is awesome. I love this. And then I went to a Mets game and I had the blanket with me.
Oh, see, more reason why I love her. She's a Mets fan too. Tag Melissa. She's a Mets fan too. We're tagging everybody. We're just tagging everybody. This is why. No. I knew she was good, peeps. Zach, so are you saying that her and Bufa should team up? He said Gnome Fa.
Oh, I love that.
That would be fun. I think we could get like Desmond to like dress like as a gnome, and then you could come out with the splatter paint overalls. Pretty much, it'd be the funnest tag team ever.
I love that. I want to wear overalls.
Instead of the splatter paint, it'd be like gnomes, though. I think. Yes.
That's so fun. Yes.
I love
100%.
it. Someone book this.
He's the nicest person ever.
He so is. I love it. I love like he's like another one. I saw him in Jersey. And I'm like, where did this guy come from? They're like, New York. And I'm like, I live in New York. I was like, how? This was like 2 years ago. And I'm like, how do I not know this guy? I was like, I'm from New York. So it's funny how, you know, in indie wrestling that like, even like I found you at Creative Pro, but like some of the people might like seen you first time like Wrestle Open, you know, and like just like associate you there.
Right. It's amazing. It's like crazy.
It's wild. Bobby says, you're one of my favorite wrestlers to watch on the indie scene.
Thank you.
All this love. I love it. I love it. All right. So besides wrestling, football, training, what are some things you like to do?
What do I do outside of that? I love cooking and I love eating. And I love eating. So that's what made me love cooking, because I had to learn how to cook to eat more food. And I love going to new places, like new restaurants. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what I love. I love going on walks to new places, like gardens. I love looking at new scenery. So again, walks in the park are like some of my favorite things. I'm not a beach gal. I'm like the most gnome. I would say this. I'm the gnomeliest person in the world. So if I'm not wrestling, training, football, you'll catch me in like a garden and like looking at flowers, or I'll be like painting gnomes. Like I painted this guy. He's adorable.
That's
gorgeous. But I paint a lot of gnomes, actually. That's what I love to do.
I can't believe like how many gnomes there are. Like I'm just seeing them now. I swear. Like even to me going to Michael's yesterday for like Halloween stuff, just like looking.
There are a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
There's gnomes are actually. I feel like I couldn't have picked a better year to be a wrestler, because any year that I did try wrestling, I would have been the Gnomie. I've always been the Gnomie. Mm-hmm. That's always been what I want people to call me. Mm-hmm. And now people call me that, so it's great. But Yeah, gnomes are really popular now. We just took off. Like when I was a kid, it would be really rare to see them,
Hmm.
but I'd get so excited like I just saw like the ice cream man or something, but it was like a gnome in the garden. Gnomes just always spoke to me,
Yeah.
and now I see them all the time, and it's great. People give me gnomes.
Yeah.
It's the best like ever.
See? Well, I saw that they had a garland at Michael's, and there's 50% off. So if anything, go to Michael's, like, and go get it because they had like the little Halloween ones, but they're so cute. They had like little like plaid on them. I was gonna buy it. Like, I'll probably go back and go buy it because now I need to have it now. I love that. I love that. It was funny because like the group chat that I'm in, and I was like, oh, you guys got any questions? So I guess I'm gonna ask it, right? Because I get yelled at if I don't ask this question anymore on this like podcast. So the joke on this pod is about cereal, and it wasn't even my question. And Miracle Generation, it's pinned on my Twitter, my personal Twitter. Anybody that's like my 200 episode of Miracle Generation, they came at me. It wasn't even my question, and they came at me. So we're gonna ask you because everybody likes when I talk about this. So, how do you eat your cereal? Do you put your cereal in first and then your milk, or do you put your milk in first and then your cereal?
Who puts the milk in first? That's what I want.
Who was it that said it? It was Andy Brown. There was a couple of people on this podcast that said that they do it.
I've never seen someone do that, and that I'm not the most, normal person, but that's a weird thing to do.
It started
I'm not one
war.
to judge, but
It started war on this podcast. And then the other thing, shout out to CPA. We love CPA.
they on?
What?
What side were they on?
Well, most of the time people are, cereal first and milk. But we've had the random of like, no, you put the milk in first and then the cereal. So it started a lot of wars on this podcast. So I get yelled at a lot. It's not even my question. I don't even eat cereal like that. I'd rather just eat it out of the box if I'm honestly like as a snack. That's just me. But I got yelled at like massive. So
I love the strange thing of me just because I'm on the go so much. I eat the single serving cereals and I just pour a protein shake in there usually. So the cereal's already in the cup, so I just kind of done for you already.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm telling you, it started a lot of crap on this pod. The other thing is, and it's on. It was after I did the interview with CPA. We were talking after, and he went off because we started talking about toilet paper. So now, randomly, CPA sends me pictures of toilet paper if it's the wrong way, and then he'll tell me he fixes it.
Aww.
So I guess we gotta ask you, how do you put your toilet paper?
Over. Like this.
Yeah, over. He said that he doesn't trust anybody. Like, he went on like an 8-minute rant. It's on the podcast on YouTube, so you can go check it. It's he just went off. It was such a fun conversation, and then it was like we ended, and then it was like I was like, no, we're recording this. I was like, seeing mad CPA. Pretty
He's
fun.
like, you can cut that out. Like, no.
No, we're clipping that because that was pretty funny. So. All right. Let me see what else that I have here. So if you guys have any other questions, drop it into the chat because I think I only have we talked about your goals. That was going to be one of my questions, a little bit of like the rest of the year. So I have one last question for you, and then we'll go into what you have. If you guys have any other questions, drop it into the chat. All right. So I know you're still new and you're still going, pretty much. But somebody that's thinking about to get into wrestling or they already just started training, what's a piece of advice that you would give them?
I feel like the best advice because I'm really not one to like give advice, but what advice had been given to me and helped me a lot was wrestling and becoming a wrestler and just being a wrestler. You are who you are, so that's why there's so many different wrestlers because every one of them is who they are. And you just have to be yourself, and the things you do have to be what you want to do, and that's how you'll have the most fun with it. As long as you're having fun, you will do everything that you have to do to become better, and just always look for progress in the things you could be doing better. And as long as you're always focusing on doing your best when you're in the ring, and then everything you need to be doing outside the ring to be the best wrestler you can be, your potential is limitless. And that's what I would say. You as a wrestler is, this is what, I forgot who told me this, probably Bronson. Whoever you are, you're going to turn it up to like 300. So basically, if you're like everyday life, you're at a 10. You as a wrestler is like 300 versions of that. It's like you have to be like the most you version of yourself. And I'm like, got it! I've got it!
I love that.
If anyone else tried to be the Gnomie, they would not connect with it the way I do, because
Right.
it's who I am. I'm just being myself. The most Gnomiest version of myself at all times.
I love that.
Living the dream.
I love that. I love that. See, as I said, this just caught me off, right off the bat. And that's like, one thing that I feel like, a lot of wrestlers that have had those conversations with wrestlers on the pod, outside the pod, are pretty much like that. That's your job, right? Is that you got to connect with me, whether you're a heel, whether you're a face, pretty much, or whatever like that. I love a bunch of heels. I mean, I don't know if you, like, they'll fight with me. I'm just easy target for everybody or whatever. And I like it. So I'll play back. Shout out Mike Skyros is one I have the forever feud with, or whatever, like that. He rips my signs every damn time, but I love him, like I love Mike, like I think he's great or whatever like that. But like I said, you came out, you caught me 100%, so I'm so excited.
I'm on your podcast.
Yes, she's here.
No.
Oh, okay, yes, I'm sorry, I should have asked this question because this is usually my infamous question to ask. Laura says, what matches of yours would you suggest to anyone to become a fan of yours?
I'd say that the most accessible match I've had is the one that Beyond, it's on Beyond Wrestling YouTube channel, but it's the match I had at Wrestling Open against Matt Castle. And it was a really fun match. I think we were the spotlight match, so that was a really good one. And it's on YouTube, so it's easy to find. What was my favorite match? I think my favorite match was this past weekend against Tina San Antonio. I had so much fun.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see, going forward, like all the women, that you're going to wrestle. And then again, I'm going to look forward to the intergender matches. I'm here for it.
I haven't happened yet because I have to do more wrestling.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to press as many women wrestlers over my head that I can and slam as many people through the mat that I can, as big as possible, preferably, and then also throwing people across the ring, like from one side of the ring to the other, maybe out of the ring. I don't know.
That's what I'm waiting for, you to throw one at, like, the fans. And I'll probably be, like, the one catching it because everybody throws everybody at me.
I would love to.
Zach, what are you going to do? Like, we've talked about this. We got into massive detail about this. What are you going to do when she wrestles Shannon Levangie? Because it needs to happen. That was the tweet that I had put out before you even made your debut. But I was like, because me and him talked about it, because that's his girl, Shannon Levangie. She's been on this podcast, if you're not familiar with her. She's amazing. She's a NEPA student. Amazing. Up in Massachusetts. Really, really good. And I've watched her start also, too, like from her beginning to where she is now. And, I can't even imagine what you guys are going to be like 5 years from now. But me and Zach, we're waiting for this match. We put it out there. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious, like, what he's going to do.
I throw her from one post to the other post, maybe outside the ring.
She likes to jump from high spots. So just so you know. She likes, she likes to climb high and jump, just so you know.
I see her jump off, like, it looked like a balcony in the video I saw. I was like, that is...
Yeah, little badass that she is. She loves jumping from things. I told her, I was like, no fear. No fear. So, all right, let's talk about where people can come see you. So, like, we have Creator Pros coming up. You and Ariella Nix. She's been on this pod, too, if you want to, like, check her out with that interview. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this match. I saw you guys talking smack to each other on the socials.
He always tries to talk smack to me. Always.
What's the first round for the tournament?
Yeah, I guess it's like a really competitive spot to be in, and I do get very competitive, but oh my god. She's always got something to say to me. She says I tried to spear her for no reason. I'm like, you were kicking me. I had spice thrown in my eyes, you were kicking me while I was down. She ran in to beat me up. I was like, what? See you in the first round.
Ooh. So that's coming up at Creative Pro. Laura says, what's your favorite candy or snack? Now you're going to get stuff now, just so you know.
I love candy. I eat they're like the sweet tart ropes. You know what I mean? The cherry, like, oh, so good. I love those. Those are my favorite. I eat them like once a week at least. I'm usually a big chocolate gal, but I've been on like a big sweet thing lately. I like to eat them like before a match, honestly. Before a football game, on the sidelines usually, like in the middle of a football game sometimes.
A little sugar rush.
Yes.
Just a little sugar rush. Bobby says, who is your favorite opponent that you have wrestled against?
My favorite opponent that I have wrestled. Favorite. Wow, that's so hard because I really do love like anyone that I wrestled. I'm like so excited to be in the ring with and like learn with. What's my favorite? That's so hard. I guess my favorite opponent is Nat Castle because I'm very proud of her. We're both in our first year of wrestling, and we both are students at Creative Pro. So she's really branching out onto the indies also, and we are wrestling each other a whole lot. So,
yeah,
you know,
the fight forever.
Yeah. We are.
And actually, we can put it up here on the screen for you guys or whatever. You're wrestling her again on the 17th.
Yep.
It's the fight forever, pretty much. So you can check that out. That's at Ridgefield Park. That's going to be, that's right. Is that Ridgefield? That's at Ridgefield, the Wrestle Pro. Yeah. So definitely check that out. You can get tickets for that. And then you also have CCW coming up. So that's pretty awesome. So the opponent hasn't been announced yet, right?
Not announced yet, but I think that's an all women's promotion. So
yeah.
A lot of female wrestlers there, and I'm excited to wrestle someone. You know, I'm excited to wrestle people I've never wrestled before. So that's gonna happen a lot for me because I'm so new.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to wrestle like people like Becca. There's a lot of other names I've been seeing pop up on the indies that I'm like, oh, I would love to wrestle them. I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah. Like Paris is on that, Kaya's on that, like, you know, great chicks, you know, pretty much out there. I love them. Hey Anthony, he's in the chat. He says hi, how are you? Thanks for coming on in here. So yeah, there's so much. So like I said, like I can't wait to see your journey going on with that. So tell everybody where they could like follow you, buy your merch. I think today's the last day for the Pro Wrestling Tees coupon, right?
Right. The Labor Day Pro Wrestling Tees website. You can buy. I have 2 T-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees right now. One has my face on the shirt with this guy. Actually, we're going like this. Your homie, the Gnomie. And then the other one is Gabby Forza, Master of Gnomes. That's a cool T-shirt. Yeah. Pro Wrestling Tees. Otherwise, you can find me. I'm the same across Twitter, Instagram. I think that's my only 2 platforms. _Gnomie. GNOMIE.
Yes. I love that. I love that. So I feel like it's gonna be like so easy. Like me, like I probably could make you like a million things, but like gnomes for you to like sell. It's so cool. Kip Stevens was yelling at me the other day. He was like, I want merch. I'm like, well, we'll talk. I was like, we'll figure something. Like, I feel like I need to make like a keychain for you now, or like an ornament. Like that's gonna be like Christmas time. Like, how cool would it be to see like a little Gnomie ornament? Like I got Kylon with his little bridge because you know I'm obsessed with bridges.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So they're. Oh, I just like untied the thing, but we'll fix that. Oh no, I'm all blurry now on the. Hold on 1 second. I'm all blurry on the camera. 1 sec. Okay, we'll fix that. Okay, so there we go. But you like I swear you'd be like the easiest person because it's just gnomes, you know. I love that. So, Bobby said this interview was great. Thank you. Laura says, "Oh my God, I would love to see you in Paris." Yes, yes. There's a lot.
That's cool.
There's a lot.
That was the. Sorry, I'm sorry, Paris. That was the name that was slipping my mind before when
Paris
you was asking
Dundee?
for my. Yes.
Yes.
Can't wait.
She's great too. So I love that she's like making her places all over the place too. So, you know, she's a chaotic champion, the panoptic champion up there. So she's at CCW.
I've seen her at Cap against Becca, and that was an amazing match.
Yeah. So we love her. You can check out that interview if you're new here. So she's been a lot of these names that we're talking about have been on this podcast. So it's great. So I got you covered if you have no idea who these people are, pretty much. So Leo too. Leo's Leo Sparrow we were talking to. So you know, I just put that on like the indie talk. So go check out that episode too that I did a little backstage. We were having fun. Everybody was taking the Chokeslam championship from me. So
Amazing.
listen, okay, now we gotta talk about the Chokeslam championship because you need to do it because there's so much shit talk on this podcast because of this podcast. And I asked Zach because he sent me the photo. That's his thing that everybody that enters into the Chokeslam gets a photo with him chokeslamming Zach. So I was happy that your photo, you know, you got to do it with it. But this all started on this podcast, and it all started between Dante, Trayvon Jordan, Kylon King. So it started with that. I have the belt. It's inside, so I can't even show the belt. Hasn't been crowned yet. I'm going to rip off put the Indie Wrestling Corner on it soon, and then just let it go to different promotions. Dante claims it. Bryce claims it. Bryce is part of it now.
I've heard so much about it.
So we need you to, you know, give us one now. When you go back up to like open or whatever, you gotta give us.
Oh my goodness. I hope I do it really well.
It'll be really good. So I'm here for it. So it's gonna happen. So check her out. Book her if you're a promoter. You know, please book her so I can see her more. Love to see it. Yeah, I think we covered everything. We got your merch. All those links are in the description, guys. Buy her shirt. Again, 20% off, I think, today for Pro Wrestling Tees. So you can click that link. I think it's Labor Day, I think the code is, or whatever. So get yourself a shirt. Go bring her some candy. Go bring her some gnomes. Go give her some love. Or some coffee. Some coffee. She likes coffee. Coffee. You know, it's that Queen's accent, coffee. And I spell it how I say it. But thank you for coming on here. Thank you for chatting with us. You know,
thank you. Thanks to everyone in. I really appreciate all the support and all the fun questions.
Yeah, thank you guys for all your questions. Your questions were great. I appreciate it. If you listen to this later, you know, make sure you leave a like, you know, leave a comment, all that fun stuff, and you know, the audio listeners also too. I love you so much. So, but yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up now. Make sure you're following me on the social media platforms. I'm not sure when I will be back. I have to go week by week. So, but I'll be back. So don't worry. So yeah, so you guys know the drill. Stay safe. Support independent wrestling, guys. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.